Now, we have been hearing things like, IIT graduates are unemployable, they are not industry ready, etc. There is a lack of communication from the two sides. So I think we need to create a digital highway for the exchange of information between the end users of our products, namely the industry and the other employers, and figure out that in what way we need to change things so that we have more focus on skill development and creativity, whereas not sacrificing the basic scholastic knowledge that is necessary for various jobs. We also think that AI ML can help in a large way in personalization of content, because every student has a different way of learning. Every student has a different capability of retaining things. So AI ML can actually keep monitoring that and prescribing the nature of content for each person. And the third very important thing which we are facing today is the complexity of interdisciplinary. Because today, you don't have mechanical engineers studying only mechanical engineering, computer scientists only studying computer science. The lines between various engineering disciplines and science disciplines, they have become very blurred. So how do you decide the kind of content that a particular student aiming for a specific career should go through? Again, there I think because of the availability of the large volume of data, of the kind of research, the background of the authors who are participating in different kinds of research, those things can be used to define these focus streams. In terms of access of content, I think Phil just now mentioned that there is indeed a digital divide. There are people during this pandemic, we found that they could not attend schools because they did not have sufficient access to digital resources. On the other end of the spectrum, we have the National Digital Library, which, as India has come up with as a single stop portal where you can access the technical material. We also need to create pedagogical resources, which again, that is an area where AI can help. That how to teach a particular subject, what kind of automation we can bring in terms of animating certain things, in terms of explaining things in a certain way. Transliteration of the resources is another area where NLP has a huge role to play. We are already doing that in NDL, as you know, but in also in NPTEL, that is, transliteration is being used in NPTEL also. So this is a very exciting area. And finally, on the evaluation side, I think there we have a lot of scope of AI. As of now, mostly digital evaluation is based on multiple choice questions and very short answer questions. But to be able to evaluate the quality of answers and to evaluate how close you are to the answer, I think we need new metrics which can be AI based. For example, I am facing with a problem where I will have to conduct auditions for about 800 students to determine who of them will be able to take a national cultural appreciation course. It's very difficult to objectively assess such things, and I need techniques like AI for it. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, Professor Dasgupta, for your deep insights on the content accessibility and evaluation on the digital platform. And you spoke about some important aspects, like you spoke about a digital highway and holistic type of approach, right, for content, right? And you spoke about accessibility for various ways we can do the accessibility, we can enhance the accessibility, and evaluation, right, which is very, very specific. You told that there are specific use cases where we need to plan evaluation, and AI can help in that respect. Yes. Thanks, Professor Dasgupta, for your insights. And now I will go to Mr. Mukherjee. So, Mr. Mukherjee, my question towards you is that we have seen a tremendous use of the smart platforms, right, in the present scenario, right, and obviously digital connectivity. So what's your thought that how these smart platforms and digital connectivity, they're evolving, right, to be apt with the digital learning platforms and digital learning processes.
Right. No, I think very interesting perspectives from both the panelists. And Mr. Dasgupta, I completely agree with you because I have a son who's also in the first year of college, and it can be quite frustrating that there is this emphasis on the textbook knowledge as opposed to skill development. So I think that's an ongoing debate. Uh, so, so Professor Chakrabarti, coming to your question, see, I think from the way I look at it is there is so we tend to focus a lot on this whole question of delivery of education. So that obviously is one part of the digitization that I think uh, it's very evident. But I think when I really look at uh, the overall academic landscape. From the perspective of a university, because we also in course of our business we talk to a lot of higher education institutions globally, and there are some very interesting trends that are coming up today, and I think there is a lot of challenge in terms of how modern technologies can address some of these challenges. So let's first look at it from the perspective of a university. I think some of the challenges that universities globally are facing today is first of all this growing realization among people that there is a basic difference between let's say a formal education, the way we have known it for ages, vis-a-vis the development of new skills. And I think there is a growing propensity among people to go for certifications as opposed to degrees. I think that difference is becoming extremely evident as we evolve. uh, as a result of that, we did a survey of quite a few eminent higher education institutions in the US, and what we realize is there's a very interesting problem that educational institutions are facing today. That for a lot of these conventional programs, that they have always had, there is an increase in the teacher-student ratio. So there are a lot of teachers who are uh, very comfortable, and they are extremely talented in terms of delivery of a lot of these traditional programs, but the demand is slowly on the decline. Whereas if you look at some of the more emerging areas of education, such as the new technologies like artificial intelligence, data engineering, data science, it's the reverse case. So the student to teacher ratio is actually is higher, because there are more takers and comparatively lesser number of people who are equipped to deliver these kinds of education. So that I think is a big challenge that a lot of universities are facing today globally. Now, the other very interesting aspect where digitization is helping a lot of universities is as Professor Dasgupta mentioned, there is obviously a huge volume of data that's available, right, with universities. And I think there is a growing tendency among educational institutions to use analytics and advanced analytics, the predictive analytics and the prescriptive analytics, to look at things like what is the ratio between applications vis-a-vis actual onboarding of students, right? I mean, so for a particular university, I think that's an extremely important metric that you can look at by doing a significant data mining of whatever data you have captured over the years. What is the student profile who's actually joining your university? What percent of your intake is actually driven by scholarships vis-a-vis students who are able to pay for the high cost of education in a lot of these developed countries as we see today. And very importantly, the other scope of analytics or data science is in the area of student success. So placement records, I think, see, what is happening globally today is the job market, the way it stands today, is extremely volatile, right? I think, the kind of skills that are needed for a student to get an employment after a course, which whether we like it or not, is a very important sort of an ROI for an educational institution. So as a student, when I enroll for a course, what I have at the back of my mind is, what's the return on the investment that I'm making? Do I get a job at the end of it? And today, when you talk to a lot of these universities, in many cases, they do not have, an answer with a fair level of confidence, right? So I think this is an area of tremendous potential in terms of analytics, because, you need to figure out, what are the parameters for student success? So if I as a student am able to get a job in this extremely volatile market, how is that related to, let's say, your curriculum content? How is that related to, let's say, the quality of your faculty? How is that related to the number of course hours, let's say, for the relevant subjects that are being delivered? So data science, of course, is one area where we see tremendous potential for digitization. The other aspect is, again, in terms of delivery. I think some of us already talked about it. I think in the present situation, and we have every reason to believe that what we experienced in 2020 is probably going to have a far-reaching consequence, in that I don't think we will have offline only classes going forward. There is going to be a hybrid mechanism of education delivery going forward, and not just education. I think in every other area, whether it's the way we work, the way we conduct business, there is going to be a hybrid model of how you mix the online with the offline. And I think that is where there is tremendous potential for technologies like content management. How do you manage all the course materials and make it accessible to students? Another very interesting area that is coming up, and this is really fascinating, is that think of a traditional scenario where if a student had a problem, he could always run up to the teacher, meet the teacher after the class hours, and get all the clarifications. And suddenly all of that is gone. So what is happening is a lot of teachers are falling back on what we call TAs, or teaching assistants. And obviously it's not possible for a teacher to stay online round the clock to address questions that students might put on a chat box. So what is happening is we see an increasing use of chat bots, right, or conversational AI, like I was talking about earlier in the day during my keynote. So there's an increasing use of chat bots who are working as teaching assistants. So in real time, if a student has a question or a clarification that she needs at any point of time, she can actually go and put the question, and there is a chat bot who can actually respond to that particular question. And in fact, in a very interesting survey that we did for one of the premier colleges in the US, is that we did not tell the students that this was an artificial chatbot as opposed to an actual teacher who's sitting on the other end of the communication. And we wanted them to rate the quality of interaction. And in many cases, the rating that the chatbots got were actually higher, because they came up with just because of the model itself, they came up with very concise, to the point answers and things like that. So I think, again, that is an area where there is tremendous potential of automating a lot of these teaching assistants kind of thing. And so yeah, I think at a high level, data science, content management, conversational AI, I think these are broadly quite a few interesting areas where we see a lot of potential in the education sector. And lastly, just to conclude this, the thread on this, I think another area where universities are increasingly coming to us in terms of technology solutions is, what happens after a student passes out. So how do you automate a lot of these alumni services, right? How do you get in touch with people? Because remember, alumni services will also have a direct correlation with industry partnership, because a lot of your students are actually going into the industry, which at the end of the day could be a source of employment for you, a source of internship for you. So I think this whole alumni services, how you manage the relationship with your with the industry in the ecosystem, I think that is another important aspect where there's a lot of communication software. How do you create those kinds of digital platform where people can stay in touch, closed communities that are where people can communicate with one another. So I think multiple potentials, from perspective of the university operations, student services, and even post-education relationship with your institution. So yeah, I mean, it's a whole spectrum of opportunities.
Yeah, the very good insights, Mr. Mukherjee. You spoke about that means how the universities are taking into various type of services, right?
Yeah.
To support the student in this particular pandemic scenario, and so opening up the various type of digital opportunities from there, right? Yeah. So it was very good. So now I will go to Professor Jürgen. And Jürgen, my question to you is that means we know that so you are a man of data storage and security. So my question is that what are the challenges, right, in terms of content development and content delivery, right, towards the data storage and data security? If you can give your views on that.
Okay, thank you, Hamlan, for the invitation to talk to you. IT security is of course an important aspect, but the challenges I see is also the data quality. So we have a huge amount of data already nowadays, and as you know, our university, we are very strong connected to industry. All our students have contracts with companies, and so they are 50% of the time in companies, and so the demand of data scientists is really high in companies. Um, the challenges we see is there are a lot of data, but the metadata are often not clear. So if you don't know which data you have, what quality the data is, so how can you analyze data? So then there are often results, they are very strange. So often important is that you have a data cleaning first and a clear understanding of data. And another aspect is yeah, often students know a lot about methods and how to apply methods, but they don't understand the business. And so there are also sometimes strange results because they analyze something and they find out something. Sometimes it's already well known for a long time. If they use especially also old data and they don't check in advance which research was already done. Often we have many data sets available, but if the data set is some years old already, it's not necessarily beneficial or there is a contribution to for companies anymore. And then often students analyze something without the knowledge of the business background. And so this is a big challenge that people from different backgrounds are able to communicate with each other. Because if you have only the knowledge to apply a method, that is nothing worth. If you have the data only and are not able to analyze the data, you are lost. And to find these people who are able to analyze data, who have the business background and uh, can bring both together or even more aspects together, they are very rare. And this is also a big challenge to find lecturers who are able to teach in this environment.
Yeah, so thank you, Jürgen, for your very good insight on the challenges what you have in the data domain. So we will, due to shortage of time, we will just going to close the panel. But before the discussion ends, I will just want to have a one-liner summary from each of the panelists. And to start with, I can request Phil to give a one-liner summary for this. Yeah.
Sure. So I think the diversity of ideas, and also we have to leverage the diversity of economics to help students, build their own intellectual capacity.
Yeah, Professor Dashgupta, your one-liner summary to this.
Well, I think that we have to embrace digital technologies in the educational sector, definitely. But we have to be also, aware of building it the right way so that we don't have the same kind of concerns as we see in autonomous driving, for example.
Excellent. And now, Mr. Mukherjee, your summary.
Right. No, I think what we said is that data science, digital content management, artificial intelligence, these are some of the technologies which can help in the digitization of the overall process. But completely agree with Professor Jürgen, as he said. And I think my quick one-line addition to that would be that as you personalize student services more and more, effectively you end up capturing more and more of personal information related to students. And I think that in turn poses a data security and a data confidentiality kind of a challenge, which I think is also something to be aware of when we develop these solutions. Thank you.
So Professor Jürgen, your summary on this?
Data scientists will be successful if they have knowledge in several areas, data technology and business, and also the methods of analyzing data, of artificial intelligence and other algorithms.
So I thank all the eminent panelists, right? They gave important views on 4 aspects. One is the digital inclusiveness, the AI and ML for digital platform, digital services, what are in the offerings, and obviously the part of the responsibility and roles of data scientists in terms of creating data and data handling. So I thank all the panelists to be a part of this ICDMI, and we are all sure that that our country and the world will look forward to the data scientist, right, to support this particular platform of virtual education, and we will have enough space to contribute here. Thank you all once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You.
Anindita, please. So dear all, we are going to start our tracks breakout session. So kindly join respective rooms and we'll be back after 1 hour. Thank you.
Jagan, you are in which track? Track 2?
Track 2, yes.
Can you see the breakout room on your screen?
I see breakout session.
Yeah, just click on that. Once you click on that, you will find multiple sessions.
Yes.
Click on 2 and join that. Are you able to see?
Yes, I see.
Professor Arun Kumar, please join your track. Professor Arun, you are on mute. Kindly join your track. Sayanthani, what happened? Anvesha, your presentation is done. You join any track where you are interested. Yeah, Professor Pradeep, please join your respective track.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Shreya Shri, you are on mute. Sayanthani, what happened?